What's the one item in your cupboard you'd never dare throw out? In Britain, chances are it's still edible. From wartime kitchens to rainy day meals, British people have a long history of keeping food that lasts, not just for months, but for years. This habit didn't appear by accident, but rather came from empire trade routes, seafaring life, and Sunday dinners that could stretch a roast and still make room for pudding. Inside the British pantry, every jar and tin tells a story. These foods have survived blackouts, ration books, and school dinners. Some are rich and sticky, others are dry and sharp, but all of them are ready when needed, and many have become national icons along the way. These are 27 foods British people stockpile that never expire. Marmite is a thick, dark, salty paste made from leftover brewer's yeast. Spread thinly on toast or stirred into stews, it has a bold, savory flavor that people in Britain either love or avoid entirely. But there's no doubt it lasts. A sealed jar can sit on a shelf for years without spoiling. Its origin traces back to the early 20th century. In 1902, the Marmite Food Company was founded in Burton-upon-Trent, a town known for brewing beer. Scientists had discovered that spent brewer's yeast could be concentrated and bottled as a nutrient-rich food. During both World Wars, Marmite was included in soldiers' rations because of its high B vitamin content and long shelf life. To make Marmite, yeast from breweries is heated to break down the cell walls. This creates a smooth, dark extract. Salt is added both for flavor and preservation. It's cooked down until thick, then sealed in sterilized glass jars. Its low moisture, high salt, and natural acidity make it almost immune to bacteria. Today, Marmite is still found in most British kitchens, used not only as a spread, but as a secret seasoning in gravies and soups. It doesn't need refrigeration. It barely ages. But the next British staple isn't smooth or dark. It's chunky, sharp, and sweet. A slice of cheddar is placed on a thick piece of bread. Next to it, a spoonful of dark, chunky pickle, shiny, sticky, and full of sharp smell. That's Branston pickle, a sweet and tangy mix of chopped vegetables, cooked with vinegar and sugar. It's been part of the British lunch table since 1922. The first batch was made in Branston, a small village near Burton-upon-Trent. Cross and Blackwell created it using local vegetables like carrots, onions, cauliflower, and swede. The idea was simple: make a homegrown relish that could match the chutneys coming from India. It didn't take long for people to bring it into their kitchens. The vegetables are diced, then slowly simmered with brown sugar, malt vinegar, and warm spices like mustard seed and clove. When the mixture turns dark and thick, it's packed into hot glass jars and sealed. Vinegar keeps the acidity low. Sugar removes moisture. Together, they stop bacteria from growing. As long as the jar stays sealed and cool, it can last for years. Even once opened, it keeps well in the fridge. It's strong, sweet, and full of crunch. The next one doesn't crunch. It pours. Steam rises from a plate of eggs and bacon in a small corner cafe. A hand grabs a glass bottle. Out comes a dark brown sauce, thick, tangy, and sharp. This is HP sauce, a British favorite for over 100 years. It's used on everything from sausages to chips, and it still tastes the same. The sauce was first made in the 1870s by a grocer in Nottingham named Frederick Gibson Garton. He sold the recipe in 1899. By 1903, it had a new name, HP sauce, after the Houses of Parliament. The label hasn't changed much since. The ingredients are cooked slowly. Tomatoes, malt vinegar, tamarind, dates, and sugar go into the pot. Spices like clove and cayenne give it heat. Once thick, the sauce is strained, bottled hot, and sealed tight. It lasts because of vinegar and sugar. Both stop bacteria from growing. The sauce stays safe in a cool cupboard for years. Even after opening, it keeps well for months. It's still found in chip shops, cafes, and home kitchens, often right beside the ketchup. It's sharp, it's strong, it stays. The next jar doesn't sting or spice. It's soft, golden, and sweet. A tin sits on the back shelf. The label is green and gold. Inside, the syrup is smooth and thick. It shines in the light and pours slow like honey. This is Lyle's Golden Syrup. It's made from inverted sugar. It's been in British homes since 1883, and it hardly ever goes bad. It started in London, in Abram Lyle's sugar refinery. What other factories threw away, he turned into something useful. He cleaned it, thickened it, and sold it in tins. Bakers loved it. Families kept it. The label hasn't changed in over 100 years. Golden syrup is made by breaking sugar into glucose and fructose. This makes it soft, smooth, and stable. Unlike regular syrup, it doesn't turn hard over time. It also lasts. The high sugar keeps moisture low. Bacteria can't grow in it. Stored in a tin or sealed jar, it stays good for decades and even past its printed date. It's poured on porridge, baked into flapjacks, and used in steamed puddings. It's quiet, thick, and always sweet. But the next food isn't sweet at all. It starts with bitter oranges and sliced peel. Marmalade is Britain's most famous fruit preserve. Made from bitter oranges and sugar, it has filled jars and breakfast tables since the 18th century. Its story stretches from Spanish groves to Scottish kitchens, and it's still made today with the same core ingredients. The first commercial marmalade was produced in 1797 in Dundee, Scotland, but it was James Robertson, in Paisley, Renfrewshire, who brought it to more families. In 1864, he and his wife Martha began selling a golden marmalade made with fine-cut peel and bright citrus. It became a household name within a generation. Seville oranges are the key. Their tartness balances the sugar. Once peeled and sliced, the fruit is boiled with sugar and water until thick. The peel softens, the mixture turns glossy, then it's sealed hot into glass jars. Sugar preserves. It draws out water and prevents bacteria from growing. Pectin from the fruit helps it set. Stored in a cool, dry place. Sealed marmalade keeps for years. Even after opening, it holds well if the lid stays clean and tight. It's spread on toast, stirred into cakes, or served with scones and tea. Its color is bright. Its flavor is bold. But the next food doesn't need sugar. It begins with leaves and hot water. Tea is part of daily life in Britain. For many, it begins and ends the day. Among dozens of brands, Typhoo stands out, strong, simple, and steeped in routine. Tea culture is synonymous to being British. Its roots stretch back to the 17th century, when it first arrived from China, served in coffee houses, then poured in royal courts, and eventually found in every home. Typhoo was founded in Birmingham in 1903 by grocer John Sumner. He introduced a pre-packaged tea blend to help customers brew consistently at home. Until then, most tea was sold loose and weighed by hand. Typhoo's sealed packets made it cleaner, quicker, and easier. The leaves are picked, rolled, and fully oxidized. This process turns them dark and develops their flavor. Once dried, they are packed in tea bags or loose leaf form, sealed in foil or paper-lined boxes that protect them from moisture and light. Black tea stores well because it's dry. Bacteria and mold need water to grow. If kept cool and sealed, it lasts for years without losing strength. Even beyond the date on the box, a good cup still brews. It's quiet, warm, and always nearby. But while this tea takes a few minutes to steep, the next food thickens in seconds with just boiling water. Bisto gravy granules are a British shortcut. Just add hot water, stir, and pour. It's brown, savory, and served on millions of roast dinners every Sunday. Bisto first appeared in 1908. It was designed as a fast, simple way to make gravy without meat drippings. The name comes from its aroma. Bisto. Coined to match the smell rising from a hot plate, it quickly became a cupboard essential, especially during wartime and rationing. The mix is made by blending dried beef stock, starch, salt, flavorings, and color. This powder is then granulated, spray-dried into small grains that dissolve instantly when water is added. The result is a thick gravy, ready in under a minute. Because it contains no water, Bisto stores well for years. Salt helps preserve the flavor, and airtight tubs or foil packs keep moisture out. As long as it's dry and cool, it stays safe to eat well beyond its printed date. Gravy granules are poured over mashed potatoes, meat pies, and school dinner trays. They save time without losing comfort. It's quick, warm, and hard to mess up. The next item looks similar, but instead of savory, it brings sweetness and steam. Custard is one of Britain's most comforting desserts. Bird's custard powder, made in Birmingham in the 1830s, allowed families to make it without eggs, just milk, sugar, and heat. It's warm, smooth, and stored dry, ready for whenever it's needed. Alfred Bird created the powder in 1837 for his wife, who was allergic to eggs. The blend used cornstarch as a thickener, with yellow coloring and vanilla flavoring added later. It became popular fast. By the end of the 19th century, it was a kitchen staple across Britain. To make it, you mix the dry powder with sugar and a little milk to form a paste. Then you add hot milk, slowly, stirring until thick. No refrigeration, no baking, just heat and stir. The powder lasts because it's completely dry. Cornstarch won't spoil if kept away from moisture. Sealed in tins or packets, it keeps for years. Even after opening, it stores well in an airtight container. It's poured over sponge cake, stewed fruit, and treacle puddings. It's part of school dinners, Sunday treats, and quiet nights at home. It's simple, it's soft, it's always welcome. But what happens when sweetness doesn't melt but crunches? Sugar is one of the most reliable foods in any cupboard. It doesn't spoil, it doesn't change, and it's been refined and sold by Tate and Lyle since the 19th century. The company was formed in 1921, but its roots stretch back further. Henry Tate opened a sugar refinery in Liverpool in 1859. Abram Lyle built his in London in 1881. Eventually, the two companies joined, forming the brand still seen on supermarket shelves today. Granulated sugar is made by boiling sugarcane or sugar beet juice until thick, then crystallizing and drying it. The result is dry, white grains that are sealed in paper bags or airtight containers. Sugar keeps because it has no water. Bacteria can't grow in it. If kept dry, it lasts forever. Even if it clumps from humidity, it's still safe to use. In British kitchens, sugar is used in everything, from cups of tea to cakes, jams, and sauces. It's measured by the spoonful, weighed in grams, and stored in every baking cupboard in the country. It's quiet, clean, and always ready. But the next food doesn't measure sweetness. It measures strength. Salt is the oldest preservative known to humans. In Britain, Saxa has made it a household name for over a century. Clean, white, and always within reach. The Saxa brand was launched in 1907. Its name comes from the Latin word saxum, meaning rock. It quickly became a staple on tables and in kitchens, known for its fine grain and bright white color. Table salt is either mined from underground salt deposits or evaporated from seawater. It's crushed, purified, and dried completely. Additives like anti-caking agents prevent it from clumping in damp conditions. Salt lasts forever because it's pure and dry. No moisture, no spoilage. If stored in a sealed container, Saxa salt can stay usable for decades. Even if it hardens, it only needs to be broken up to work again. It seasons roast potatoes, preserves bacon, and fills gravy boats across the UK. It's a quiet, constant presence. It never fades. It never spoils. The next powder isn't soft. It stings. Mustard powder adds sharp heat without warning. Colman's, made in Norwich since 1814, is the British standard. Bright yellow, bold, and built to last. Jeremiah Colman began milling mustard seeds over 2 centuries ago. He used a blend of brown and white mustard seeds for a stronger punch. By 1866, Colman's had earned a royal warrant, and soon its yellow tin became a national icon. To make the powder, mustard seeds are cleaned, crushed, and ground into a fine flour. The spicy compounds inside stay dormant until mixed with water. That's when the heat kicks in. Because it's bone dry, the powder won't spoil. As long as it's sealed and kept away from moisture and sunlight, it lasts for years. The flavor might soften slightly over time, but never disappears. Colman's is mixed into salad dressings, sandwich spreads, and meat rubs. Some add it to cheese sauces or Yorkshire pudding batter for a subtle kick. It doesn't smell strong at first, but it builds fast, while the next food hides sweetness beneath a sponge lid. Treacle sponge pudding is a steamed classic. In a tin, it's ready whenever you are. Sweet, sticky, and stored for years. Treacle sponge became popular in Victorian kitchens, served hot with custard on rainy afternoons. But it was canning that gave it a second life. Today, brands like Heinz and Golden Fry preserve these puddings in thick tins stacked on supermarket shelves and stocked for winter nights. The pudding is made from flour, eggs, sugar, golden syrup, and sweet. It's steamed until light and springy, then sealed in cans while still hot. The lid is vacuum sealed, locking out air and bacteria. The result is shelf-stable for years. No refrigeration, no fuss. As long as the tin isn't dented or rusted, it will stay safe and moist indefinitely. To eat it, just heat the tin in hot water or microwave the pudding after opening. Add warm custard, and suddenly it's Sunday again. It's soft, sweet, and never rushed. But what happens when the comfort turns into concentrate? Stock cubes are flavor-packed into foil. Oxo cubes, first made in 1910, changed how British families made soup and stew. Just add water, and you get broth in seconds. Oxo began as a concentrated meat extract developed in Germany. By the early 20th century, the cubes were being made in London. They were included in soldier rations during both World Wars, compact, cheap, and easy to carry. The cubes are made by dehydrating meat stock, fat, salt, herbs, and flavorings. The paste is pressed into small cubes and wrapped in foil. No liquid, no spoilage. They last for years because they are completely dry and high in salt. As long as they stay sealed and stored in a cool place, they're safe well beyond their best. Before dates, in kitchens today, they go into gravies, casseroles, and sauces. Some people even drink them as a quick broth on cold days. They dissolve fast. They save space. And while they melt in water, the next food only needs hot air and a fork. Pot noodles are fast food in a cup. Dried noodles, powdered flavoring, and vegetables, all ready in 4 minutes. Just add boiling water and stir. Invented in Japan in the 1950s, instant noodles arrived in the UK in the late 1970s. Pot noodle, launched by Golden Wonder in 1977, became a cultural hit. It was hot, salty, and required no stove, perfect for students, workers, or anyone short on time. The noodles are flash fried and dried. The flavoring is a powder made from dehydrated soy sauce, spices, and oils. The sealed plastic pot keeps everything airtight. Nothing inside contains water. That's why it lasts. As long as the lid stays sealed and dry, pot noodles can sit on shelves for over a year. Even past their best-by date, they're usually fine to eat. They're quick, filling, and found in offices, pantries, and late-night cupboards across Britain. They never pretend to be fancy, but the next food came in tins long before noodles, made for bunkers, not break rooms. Corned beef is soft, salty, and packed in tight. It became a survival food long before it filled sandwiches. The name Fray Bentos originally referred to the town in Uruguay where the meat was first processed and canned for export. By the late 19th century, British soldiers were eating it from tins in remote posts across the empire. In 1943, production moved to England under the company Libby, McNeil, and Libby. The beef is cured with salt and nitrates, pressed into tins, and sealed under vacuum. The can is then sterilized to kill bacteria and make it shelf-stable. No refrigeration is needed. It lasts so long because salt removes moisture and prevents spoilage. The sealed can blocks air and light. As long as the tin remains intact, corned beef stays safe for years. Today it's used in hash, sandwiches, or fried up with onions and potatoes. Its soft, fatty texture is still tied to rationing, resilience, and post-war kitchens. It's dense, it's dependable. The next food isn't sealed in fat, it's just flakes and air. Smash is instant mashed potato. It's dry, fluffy, and ready with just boiling water. No peeling or boiling required. Launched in 1965 by Cadbury, Smash became popular in the 1970s thanks to its catchy TV adverts, featuring Martian robots mocking humans for peeling real potatoes. The message stuck. Why peel when you can just pour? The process begins by cooking real potatoes, then mashing and pressing them into thin sheets. These sheets are dried at high temperatures and ground into flakes. The result is a powder that contains no moisture. Because it's dry and sealed, Smash can last for years. No water means no spoilage. Stored in airtight bags or tubs, it stays light, soft, and safe to eat. To serve, mix the flakes with boiling water, a bit of butter, and salt. It turns into smooth, creamy mash in seconds. Smash remains a backup in kitchens across the UK. It's quick, easy, and trusted during holidays or late-night meals. It's light as dust. But the next tinned meal has weight and crust. Fray Bentos pies are full meals sealed in a tin. They're heavy, rich, and topped with pastry that bakes golden when opened and cooked. These pies were first sold in the UK in the 1950s, after the Fray Bentos brand expanded beyond canned meat. They became popular for their long shelf life and easy prep. No fresh ingredients required. Inside the tin is pre-cooked meat and gravy topped with a layer of raw puff pastry. The lid is removed and the pie is baked directly in its can until the crust puffs and browns. The filling is pressure cooked before sealing. The can is then vacuum sealed and sterilized, killing bacteria and preserving the food for years. Because the meat is cooked and the can is airtight, spoilage is almost impossible. It's a full dish preserved in metal and heat. Today, it's a nostalgic favorite. Found in pantries, camper vans, and holiday cottages across the country. It's sealed like a memory. And while this food is rich with gravy, the next comes from fat alone, shredded, white, and ready for dough. Suet is raw beef fat, finely shredded and dried. It's used to make pastry, dumplings, and puddings hold their shape and their fluff. Atora was created in 1893 by Gabriel Hogan, a Frenchman living in Manchester. He noticed how time-consuming it was to chop suet at home. His brand made it easy, pre-shredded, dried, and packed for storage. Fresh suet spoils quickly, so Atora developed a way to coat each shred in flour, then dry it. The flour absorbs any remaining moisture. The result is a crumbly, shelf-stable mix that can last a year or more. It's used in steak and kidney puddings, spotted dick, and suet dumplings. It gives crusts lift and keeps fillings moist. Suet became essential in wartime cooking, when eggs and butter were scarce. Even now, it's a quiet helper in traditional dishes. It's never flashy, but it holds everything together. But what happens when the fat gives way to fiber in beans? Heinz baked beans are soft, sweet, and covered in tomato sauce. They're a comfort food and a survival staple. The first cans arrived in the UK in 1886, imported from America and sold at Fortnum and Mason. By the 1920s, they were produced in England and marketed as affordable, filling, and modern. The beans are cooked, mixed with sauce, sealed in cans, and heat sterilized. This process removes air and kills bacteria, giving each tin a shelf life of several years. They last because of the acidity in the tomato sauce and the tight seal. Kept in a cool cupboard, they stay safe far beyond their best-by date. Today, they're eaten on toast, alongside full English breakfasts, or straight from the can. In schools, hostels, and homes, they're always there. They're warm, they're simple. But what happens when sweetness goes black? Black treacle is thick, dark syrup made from sugar refining. Lyle's black treacle has poured into British baking since 1885. Deep, sticky, and unmistakably rich. It's made by boiling sugarcane syrup to extract sugar crystals. What's left is a dark liquid full of minerals and a sharp, bittersweet taste. This is treacle. Stored in tins, smooth and slow-moving. It preserves itself. High sugar content and low moisture make it hostile to bacteria. The tin keeps it safe from light and air. Treacle can last for decades if stored dry and sealed. It's used in parkin, Christmas puddings, and gingerbread. Its flavor deepens over time. Some cooks even prefer it slightly aged. It's slow, it's strong, it never spoils. The story doesn't end with Britain's cupboards. Oats are ancient in Britain, but Quaker oats made porridge modern. Dried and rolled into flakes. They're ready for boiling water and a touch of salt or sugar. In Scotland, oats were once cooked into porridge drawers, cut into slabs and carried to the fields. That hearty habit traveled south. By the 20th century, Quaker oats offered a faster version. No need to mill or soak. The oats are steamed, rolled, and kiln-dried. No moisture means no spoilage. Stored in paper or foil-lined bags, they last for years. Porridge is in school breakfast clubs, care homes, and army barracks. It's a ritual before exams or cold commutes. For many, the smell alone means safety. It's not just food, it's grounding. And the next one swims through that same quiet trust. John West tuna is a cupboard constant, ready in tins for sandwiches, salads, or storms. Since the mid-20th century, tinned fish has helped feed a working Britain. John West's name carries a certain reliability. It's not luxury, it's what's always there when the fridge is bare. The tuna is cooked, packed in brine or oil and heat sealed. Without air, bacteria can't grow. The oil or salt water preserves texture and flavor. Canned tuna lives in student kitchens, office drawers, and caravan cupboards. It's post-gym protein or a quick midweek tea. It's not just a backup, it's a basic. British minds associate it with control of meals, budgets, and the unexpected. It waits quietly, but the next tin doesn't wait. It comforts on the first spoonful. Heinz chicken soup is more than lunch. It's emotional armor. Every Brit has reached for it in a cold spell or a bad day. Launched in the early 20th century, it rose during rationing and stayed through school sick days. It became shorthand for care. One tin, heated, silently saying, "You'll be all right." The soup is pressure cooked, sealed, and sterilized. Its creamy texture and mild taste appeal to children and the ill. It's gentle, reassuring. It's the voice of mums, grannies, and flatmates who don't know what else to cook. It's soft heat in a harsh week. It doesn't shout, it soothes. But the next comfort isn't creamy. It's firm until it bends. Spaghetti is no longer foreign. It's British now, tied to weeknights, spaghbol, and early lessons in cooking. Napolina brought Italian pasta to the UK in the 1960s. Since then, dried spaghetti has become part of the British pantry. Cheap, lasting, and endlessly adaptable, it feels like something everyone knows how to make. The pasta is made from durum wheat, shaped and dried slowly. With no moisture and low fat, it stays safe for years in its sealed bag. Kids learn to boil it before they learn to bake. It's on plates at student parties and pensioner meals alike. It doesn't judge, just takes sauce and feeds whoever's hungry. It's not just pasta, it's participation, while the next ingredient rarely takes the spotlight, but it anchors the whole plate. Tomato puree is hidden but powerful. One spoon changes everything. In Britain, cereal helped shape how people cook Mediterranean food at home, slowly, steadily from the 1970s onward. Puree is made by simmering and concentrating peeled tomatoes, then vacuum sealed in tubes or tins. Low water and high acidity preserve it naturally. It's not just a base, it's the red undercurrent of British lasagna, shepherd's pie cheats, curry sauces, and slow-cooked anything. For many, it's one of the first ingredients they learn to just add. You don't notice it, but you'd notice if it were missing. It's confidence in a cupboard. Potted meat is rich, spreadable, and old-fashioned in the best way. In Britain, it's a taste of the past. War kitchens, countryside lunches, and no-waste traditions. Shippams, founded in 1786 in Chichester, made potted meat famous across the UK. Originally developed as a way to preserve cooked meat without refrigeration, potted meat became common during wartime and rationing, when fresh supplies were scarce. The method is simple. Beef, ham, or poultry is cooked until tender, minced finely, and mixed with spices and fat. The mixture is packed tightly into jars and sealed with a thick layer of clarified butter or lard. This fat cap keeps air out and bacteria at bay. Some versions are then pasteurized or vacuum sealed to extend shelf life further. Because of the airtight seal and low water content, unopened potted meat can last for years in a cool, dark pantry. Once opened, it should be eaten quickly, but until then, it waits, ready to spread. It's eaten on toast, crackers, or even spooned into jacket potatoes. For older generations, it's a flavor tied to thrift and comfort. For newer ones, it's curiosity in a jar. Malt vinegar is sharp, brown, and unmistakably British. It's more than a condiment. It's a tradition poured over chips at every seaside town, chippy, and kitchen table. Sarson's began brewing vinegar in 1794 in Craven Street, London. By the Victorian era, its tall glass bottles were a fixture in fish and chip shops across the country. Made by fermenting barley-based beer into acetic acid, then aged in wooden vats for 7 months, malt vinegar became essential to working-class meals. It lasts almost indefinitely. High acidity, around 5%, prevents bacterial growth. Sealed tightly and stored in a cool cupboard, malt vinegar won't spoil, just deepen in flavor over time. It's used to pickle onions, enhance sauces, or cut through fatty dishes. And in Britain, its scent is emotional, a sensory shortcut to memories of wrapped chips, drizzle-soaked pies, and newspaper napkins. Centuries of seafaring, trade, and tradition have shaped what the British keep on their shelves. But across the channel, another culture has perfected its own timeless pantry. From sun-dried fish to golden oil, Spain's approach to preservation is just as rich, just as enduring. Now it's time to open their cupboard in this next video right here.